The Adidas Dropset Pro dropped this month, and I bought a pair pretty much the day that they went live. I've just got back from my first run in them, so I wanted to share some early impressions while everything is still fresh. Quick caveat before we dive in, this is not a full review. One run doesn't tell you everything, and I'll be the first to admit that, but there's enough to talk about already, so let's get into it. Starting out with why I bought these. The Dropset Pro is marketed as a hybrid shoe, basically Adidas's Hyrox shoe. The idea is that it functions equally well as a running shoe and also for functional fitness movements such as CrossFit. Now, I've got a history with CrossFit, Hyrox and Athex, so that concept is interesting to me, but I'll be honest, that wasn't the main reason why I bought them. When the Dropset Elite, their bigger brother, came out in March, it caught my eye, but at £230 in the UK, it wasn't something I was willing to take a punt on. What actually interested me about that shoe was what hybrid really means to me as a runner. When I hear that word, what I actually hear is stability and performance in one package. I have flat arches, so I'm a runner who needs a degree of medial stability, and it is genuinely getting harder to find performance shoes with modern premium foams that are also inherently stable. The stability end of the market tends to lag behind the performance end, so when the Dropset Pro landed at £130, and in the white and black colourway I ended up with, they only came in at £116, including delivery. I clicked buy faster than I usually would. Before we get into my impressions, just a few quick specs. The Dropset Pro feature a breathable engineered mesh upper. They have a Light Strike Pro midsole foam, Continental rubber at the forefoot, and Adidas's light traction at the heel. They have an energy rod system for torsional stability, but more on that in a moment. They feature a lightly padded gusseted tongue, a well-padded heel collar, slightly lighter padding around the ankle. They have a 7mm drop with a 22mm in the forefoot and 29mm in the heel. And in my size, which is a UK 13.5, they weigh 305 grams. That weight puts them in the ballpark of the Asics Superblast 2. They are lighter certainly than the Nike Pegasus Plus and Zoomfly 6, and also the Asics Nova Blast range. And I think for a hybrid stable shoe, that is a really solid number. So on to my first impressions, and I will start with the stack height. Despite looking like a high stack shoe, having that very familiar Adidas silhouette that you get with things like the Evo SL, it very much isn't. Those high sidewalls are a stability feature. Your foot sits significantly lower than them. So if you're expecting something like a stable Evo SL, that is not what you are getting here. For context, within the Adidas lineup, the stack height sits closer to the Adios 9 or the Takumi Sen 11 than it does something like the Evo SL. And compared to everything else in my rotation, these have more ground feel than anything I've worn probably in the last 4 years, possibly since my Nike Structure 24s, which run a 19mm forefoot and a 27mm heel. So I just thought I'd mention that, so it's worth tempering your expectations going in. Out of the box and on this first run, they feel quite firm. There's not a huge amount of response yet, and the Light Strike Pro feels like it needs a few runs to start showing what it really can do. That said, my legs are also very conditioned to high stacked cushion shoes right now, so some of that is probably an adjustment that's needed on my end too. I'll reserve full judgment on the foam until I've put a lot more miles in. Moving on to stability, and this is honestly where the Dropset Pro genuinely shine, and you can hopefully see that from this slowed down treadmill footage. The stability here comes from two things essentially, the high sidewalls and the energy rod system. And it's worth being clear, to me, the energy rods here are not the same thing as the energy rods on Adidas's premium racing shoes. Those are more about speed and propulsion. Here, they're acting as a wide A or H-shaped plastic shank positioned close to the outsole, delivering torsional stability, so don't be expecting a carbon plate type response from them. For a flat-arched runner like me, that is the level of lateral stability, which is exactly what I was hoping to find. Moving on to fit and comfort. On the foot, they are comfortable. One thing to flag though, during my first run, I felt what it seemed like some sharp plastic around the upper lacing area, almost as if a product label left some residue behind, but there was nothing that I could spot. I'm confident that that will subside once they're broken in properly, but I also thought it was worth mentioning. Sizing wise, I'm usually a UK 13 in most brands, but I generally go to a UK 13.5 in Adidas. In knees, I think they run slightly large. I probably could have got away with a UK 13. That said, the lockdown feels solid despite the extra room at the toe end, so I'm happy to keep hold of them. So moving on to how I plan to use them going forward. This month, I'm planning on getting back into functional fitness more seriously than I have for the last couple of years. So these are going to be my go-to shoe for those sessions. Exactly what they're designed for. I'm also going to be using them as my main running shoe for the next few weeks to see where they really excel and, just as importantly, where they don't. So that's my first impressions. Like I said, one run, very early days, but there's enough here to be genuinely interested, especially for runners who've been struggling to find stability in a modern performance package. If you want to see my full review once I've had a proper chance to put these through their paces, hit like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. And let me know in the comments, are you someone who needs stability in a performance shoe? I'd love to know what you've been using or what you think you might be using in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya.